Hey, this is Justin with daytradethemarkets.com. It's Wednesday, January 17th, 2018. We're having a nice rally here in the ES as of right now. Don't know what will happen late in the day, but as of right now, we're having a nice rally in the ES. And I wanted to talk about some of the signs or clues ahead of that, and also talk about an idea or a potential trade setup around this idea that we talk about sometimes called confluence, and that's where multiple pieces of evidence line up, and it gives you an increased edge. And the way that I, think about that, and the way that I teach it is this idea of uh, looking at multiple pieces of evidence that are correlated but not, or that are related but not highly correlated. And I like to look at on the short term what we call boxes and aggression bars, and you can see some of those here early on. That's helping us tell the story of the day right now as it's unfolding in real time. And then on the intermediate term, I like to look at a different take on support and resistance idea. I call these zones, and these are known before the day begins. And then also we have a big picture bias known before the day begins. So today, heading into the day, our big picture bias is up with caution, and we have this zone basically from all the way up 2808. If I spread it out, that's a zone that we're looking at heading into the day. Okay, so all things equal, as we open the day, we probably would rather be looking to the long side. That's our preferred side to be on, unless the evidence on the box level changes. And early on, that's exactly what it looked like might be happening. We got this selling box that came in here, and we also got this selling box right there. So we had a couple of selling boxes early in the day that are showing us that the sellers are trying to make a little bit of a run at taking this thing lower. So we had a selling box that shows that sellers are coming in, and we were able to accept price below this zone, okay, this big zone. So in the meantime, or as that's happening, it looks like sellers are really making a push at it. Now, the one caveat is that as we're making new lows, we see some extreme and then some really strong buying come in. And anytime you see really good buying on the low of the day, or anytime you see really good selling on the high of the day, you need to at least have your antennas up. It needs to put you on alert. And that would, normally speaking, if not for these bars, we would be thinking this is a good spot to go short. The now that we're below this zone, it should give us resistance here on the retest of that zone. And we also have a selling box here. I'll make this a little bit thicker to stand out. We actually have a selling box there. The high of that should offer resistance. That should be a pretty good spot to go short. However, when you see this kind of, extreme and strong buying off of the low, that's a pretty good sign of a potential reversal. That's telling us, at a minimum, be careful if you're thinking about going short. And this is what we were talking about during our live session this morning as well. However, a little bit later on, things started to shift. On the zone level, the buyers were able to get back inside of this zone, okay, this big area here. And once we're back inside of that area here, that means that if it retests down toward the low of it, it should offer some support. So on the zone level, we should be able to find some support down here around the 84 area. Now, in the meantime, we also had this buying box that formed. Let me make this a little bit thicker as well to stand out. We know that when a buying box forms, the low of that buying box should give us support. So we have support as well. We also are now above this selling box here. So a retest of that selling box should give us support right there. So we have a lot of confluence or an area down here between, let's say, 85 and 84 that should give us support. Again, support on the zone level and support on the box level. We mix that with the fact that our big picture bias is up, or up with caution in this case, and it tells us there's a lot of evidence that's coming together that should be a pretty good area for buyers to be a buyer potentially, or it should be the way we classified it today in our live session with our members. We talked about this kind of being the line in the sand for the buyers, that this is an area that the buyers needed to hold, that we would expect them to hold until proven otherwise, and that if so, then this market, certainly at this kind of a decision point, it's a good place to potentially be getting into a trade long, but it's also a very important area for these buyers to hold. In other words, if these buyers couldn't have held this, it's not a certainty, but it's a very high likelihood we were going to go test the low of the day. And who knows, if the sellers could get through there, they could have a nice trend day down. But until that happened, we would expect this area of confluence on the zone level and the box level to hold. And based on the fact that we also had an up or up with caution bias, it's telling us that it's a pretty good spot for buyers to step in. So it's a good spot to take a trade. I was just talking to someone I know who took a trade right in there as well. I actually got long a little bit earlier at like 86 quarter. Same idea. I just wanted to be a little more aggressive. It's a pretty good spot for. Again, the point being, I just wanted to talk about this idea of confluence, where multiple pieces of evidence come together. You're never going to be absolutely perfect. You're never going to, you can't always know what the market's going to do. All we can do is try to put the pieces in place, analyze the evidence, try to make the best sense of the context of the market that we can, so that we know, is it worth placing risk in this environment or not. So hopefully that makes sense. I know the market's rallied higher as well. I think we're up to like 98 as I speak. So it's continuing higher. That's what we would expect. Nice reversal pattern down here. Nice confluence area where a lot's coming together, showing us that the buyers have an open door to take this thing higher, which, as of me speaking right now, it is. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will talk again soon. Thanks a lot.